Welcome everybody to Getting to Member. So great to have you all here. I'm thrilled that such a large number of people turned up. So this will go for about half an hour. Sometimes it goes a bit longer if people have questions. A few people have already said they have some questions. And my commitment is I will not leave until your questions are answered. So thank you for being here. So today we're really talking about, this is the part 2 of a 3-part series. Part 1 was about having the right one-pager, speaker one-pager. So that video's in the vault. Check that out if you haven't already. Today is all about having the right bio, and next month will be about a speaker introduction. So we will sort that out. What I want to do, hang on, is click the right button. I'm going to head on over to PowerPoint. I do have a few slides. I'm not going to bore you to death with it all, but just give you a bit of an idea of what's going on. So as I said, we're going to be talking this evening about bio. So again, as per the deal, and if you remember and you don't know the deal, Shutterstock have some amazing images. I'd strongly recommend you use them. I've used quite a few this evening, but I use some of my own as well. So we're talking about the bio. So essentially what you want for your bio is you want to make sure that it is something that is, well, it's not consistent, compelling content, but it is compelling. It is something that makes people want to know more about you. And the bio is what's used. Typically, it's used for in the program. If someone has a program or an online, who are our speakers, or maybe they've got a handout paper program which has information about you. So that'll be someone that it's used. They'll also use it for if they want to do marketing to their members or to whoever's turning up. They'll put that information about it. So it has to say some compelling information about you, about what you'll be talking about, a little bit about what's your right to speak. So you want to make sure that you're covering all of that kind of stuff. And they come in 3 different sizes. They consistently, professional conference organizers ask for 3 different sizes. And they are up to 50 words, up to 100 words, and up to 300 words. They really don't want anything over 300 words. If they have a bigger program, they'll put the 300 words in. But the most commonly one I get asked for is the 50 words. So what I do is I actually have a document that has all 3 versions. So that just allows people to pick and choose whatever one they want. And so this evening I'll cover how I've created mine, and then we can brainstorm or work through a couple of ideas maybe on how you've created yours. So I would just want to refresh, and for those of you who weren't with us, in the previous session that we ran on your one-pager, there are some certain words that we sell. And so I just want to make sure that we're familiar with these words and how we can use them in our bios as well. So just to quickly run through them, easy is a great word to use because my theory is always you want to make it easy for them to be the customer. So they want to absorb information about you. You got to make it really easy for them to take that on board, and using the word easy is part of it. You want to highlight the value, and using the word value is, great value. Warwick this evening covers 10 valuable tips that you'll be able to blah, 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 blah. Effortless fits in there with them as well. A lot of the bio stuff, even though it's about you, you can address it to the audience. Warwick is such a good speaker, he'll make your watching experience a whole lot more fun, or you will enjoy the delights and the funny jokes, some of them not quite so funny, that Warwick tries to tell. Using the word and not but is a powerful thing, because but puts a no and puts a stoppage, but and makes you continue to smooth. Because is a really great thing. You may be aware of the Xerox test, and those of you who were on the session last month will remember the story we talked about. What Xerox did is they had a line of people trying to get some photocopying, and they were wondering how could they get people to break into line. And so they started off by saying, go up to them and say, hey, can I push in? I need to get some copying done. And most people would sort of say no. And then they would say, now give a reason. Can I get some copying done because I've got an urgent appointment that I need to get to? And people would let them in. But they then changed the reason. And they even, just using the word because, allowed people would let them push in. And they were saying things like, do you mind if I push in? Because I need to make some copies. And they would say yes. There's a because there. So even having a because is great. Discover, people always want to discover. Secrets, talk about the secrets that you're giving. Oh, Warwick has uncovered the secret to how to be a magnificent MC, and he's going to share with it today. Never is good to say in terms of, these are things you've never heard before, or never, again, have wasted your time trying to get to the photocopier. People always want to know what's new. They want to know what's now, and guaranteed is all good. So they're just a really quick high level about some of the words that you can use that help your bio stand out just that little bit. All right. So the content that needs to be in your bio really talks about the credibility. Why should people listen to you? What's your right to speak? And this can be, Warwick has spent 15 years developing this, that, and the other. He has a master's in doodly-what's-it and a PhD in hoodly-doo. Whatever it is that hoodly-doo is an amazing subject, I must confess. But you need to look at what is it that's giving you credibility to that target market. And feel free to and I know for me, I have a generic bio, but for certain events, I will actually create a specific bio for them if I think that it just adds that certain value. Again, you want to make sure it's client-focused. It really has to be focused on where's the value for them. Unfortunately, as speakers, we love to talk about ourselves, and we love to tell people how good we are. And at the end of the day, most people really don't care. They're always thinking, and Winston Marsh has a number plate that says that, what's in it for me? And so the focus really has to be what's in it for them as a client. So how can we get the focus? I also like to focus on the outcome, because you need to understand that in any event, there's multiple clients. You've got the delegates who are a client, you've got the conference organizers who's a client, and then you've got the actual client who's paying the money. So there's three different clients. So typically they are very focused on outcomes. So if you can put some of the outcome focus in your bio, which talks about the kind of results that you get for your audience, that's a very powerful thing. Then finally, you want to make it personal, because this is about you. They want to know you. At the end of the day, they want to have a relationship with you, and I mean that in a professional sense. So they have to get to understand you a little bit. So what I want to do is I'll just go through the bios that I use. I'm not saying that they're super good, that I know that they can be improved, but I just want to give you an idea of the kind of bios that I've put together based on the 300, 150, and 50 words. And then I'll come back to you and we'll open up and have a conversation about your bios. And I know we've got a couple of senior speakers on the line as well, so we can get some input from them. Because again, this is just a perspective; it's not the perspective. So what I have done, in what I'd recommend you do, is start with the large one. Go big, because what you can do is write a whole lot of blurb and then be able to compress it down for the smaller ones. So let me just quickly read this out to you, because it's probably hard to read the screen. Warwick's clients refer to him as Australia's best MC. By the way, the reason I said that was because A, they do, B, it gives more credibility saying that my clients say it versus going, Warwick is Australia's best MC. Because I don't know how many times I've heard, highly sought after speaker, the best salesperson in Australia, la 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 la. These self-appointed titles, people get bored. So Warwick's clients refer to him as Australia's best MC. It's a big call, but as we know, the customer's always right. Tried to make it funny. Even Wikipedia has an entry for him under Voice of God. So why is Warwick a master MC? He knows the event's not about him. It's not even about the speakers. Each event is all about the delegates. And in his role, he knows that he has to manage the energy levels throughout the event, show them why they should be interested in the speakers, ensure the organisers' aims are met. So really focusing on the delegates and also on the event organisers. He does that using stage presence, improvisation skills, plenty of jokes, not all of them funny. And I use that because it's true, but also it then gives me permission to crack non-funny jokes like dad jokes. Characters and plenty of preparation. He's hosted events all over the world and combines his MC skills with business skills to facilitate fish bowls, roundtables, and working groups, as well as large-scale award nights. His humble approach makes him very engaging and willingness to do whatever it takes to make the event a success. It does bring out the extraordinary. He's hosted 3-course meals in the Great Wall of China, gala dinners in Dubai, and on multiple occasions, TEDx in Melbourne. You're sure to laugh, have fun, and celebrate the success of your next event with Warwick at the helm. So there's quite a bit of credibility there in terms of the locations. TEDx Melbourne's a good brand to associate with. There's a film about saying we can do roundtables, fish bowls, etc. So it's a bit of a bio. It's really not a great deal about me, but it sort of covers a lot of the key stuff. So that's what I put together for the large one. And as you can see, I put a word count, and even in the document itself, I have the word count, because that way the organizer who wants to use this can go, oh yeah, that's 226 words. That's good. That'll be fine. So then what I did is I just went through and edited bits out and dropped it down to 143 words. I kept the core things. Like we talked about the Great Wall of China, Dubai, TEDx Melbourne. We talked about having fun. We talked about energy levels, managing the delegates. We talked about the best MC, the Wikipedia entry. The Wikipedia entry is a cracker. A lot of people refer to that. And that came about from a PSA convention when people were referring to me as voice of God. It's also a theatre term. Any of the big voiceovers that you get over the booming microphone is a voice of God. But a lot of people don't know, you can edit Wikipedia yourself. So somehow magically my entry came under voice of God. So I consolidated that down. So I kept those key elements, but it's just under that 150 word. And then I went through and tweaked it again. So it's like Warwick's clients refer to him as Australia's best MC. He knows the event's not about him. It's about the delegates. He has to manage their energy, show them why they should be interested, and ensure your aims are met. You'll laugh and succeed with Warwick as MC. 50 words, bang on. So that's got the core elements, like, his client says the best MC. It's not about him. It's about the delegates, manages your energy, ensure your aims are met. They're the three that I've put together. And so it's just a matter now of you having a crack and looking at, okay, what is it that you're going to do for your introductions, your bio, in terms of how you're going to do that. So if you haven't already, it would be a good opportunity to, after this session ends, is to give it a crack. So I'm interested. I'm interested in some of the others who are on the line as to what sort of things that you might have done for your introduction. Oh, by the way, I make it really easy for conference organisers. I actually have a web page on my site that is, it's about Warwick / for conference organisers, and on that page I have high resolution and low resolution copies of 5 different images of me and my logo. I also have my bio on one page in that 51, 50, 300 words. I have my introduction, and I also have some other info, all on that one page. So because you always get asked, oh, can we get a photo? For those of you who spoke at the convention, they were asking, oh, can we get a photo? Can we get an intro? Can we get a bio? And it's very easy to go to this page, and you can download anything you want. And if you need me, I'm happy to tweak it. So that's the kind of stuff that I've done. Ian, I know you were coming along this evening to share some of your wisdom and your knowledge and your magnificence. So what sort of stuff have you got in your bio? Do you do the 50, 150, 300? How do you set yours up?
No, that's new to me, so I'm going to do that. Mine is probably more around the 150 words. But the thing that has been successful for me is to have a generic bio, but then I have 3 other bios that are tailored very much to my 3 different talk areas. Right. So when I get an inquiry from a client or a bureau, I'll actually say to them, look, how about I'll send you through a more specific bio, and that talks to the actual content. And something Saxton's asked me to do was the very first sentence is to demonstrate I understand the client's model of the world. I don't start off in my bios about me. It's making a comment about the typical audience. So let's say it's sales leaders. I'm kicking off with, many sales leaders are losing sleep at night, wondering whether or not the revenue numbers will happen. And that's the very first sentence. Then I transition into my bio. So it's kind of, hopefully they're nodding and I'm demonstrating I understand their model of the world before I'm starting to tell them about me. So that seems to have really worked well, that I thought might be worth sharing with the troops tonight.
No, that's a good one. That's great. Yeah, because that's really highlighting, here's a pain point that you've got. Let me squeeze it to make sure that you know it exists, and then go, oh, and I'm the solution to your pain. That's great. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm open to any comments that anyone may have or any questions anyone may have. Chris, you said you had a question this evening. There might be others Others might have some secrets they use in their bio. I'm really open to hear what thoughts you've got. Go, Russell.
My question is more around the place for a bio versus an introduction.
Yep.
Do you ever find that the organizer mistakes one for the other? And how do you go about getting over that?
Yeah, that's a great point. Frequently, an organizer will ask for a bio and then give that to the MC as an introduction. And they are two completely different things, because typically anyone who's in the audience will have read your bio. They will have seen it on the website or read it in the program. So they want something different for the introduction. The introduction really has nothing about you. It is all about the audience. And then basically you're saying, and we'll learn the detail of this at the next session that we run, but it's really, why should I listen to you? And a little bit that gives you credibility, and then something funny to sort of get you on stage. The bio is really more about a bit more detail about the individual, about the speaker themselves. So they are two different documents. And I know one of the things that I do is the bio set up that I'll send to the PCO well beforehand. But for the introductions, I'll also send it to them, and I'll also take 2 copies with me to the event. So I can hand a copy to the host, and also I've got a backup copy just in case they lose it, as the host typically has a truckload of paper that they're shuffling on the day. But they are 2 very different documents. There might be some similarities, but they are very different. So, yeah, great question. Thanks, Russell.
Thanks.
So
Go, Chris.
I'll ask that question, Warwick. You've kind of answered it, and actually, Ian, you've also answered it, which is no surprise, really. I've heard a number of I've seen bios where it goes into a lot more detail about historic credibility, and I kind of was curious to know, how much credibility do you have to establish?
And look, that's a great question, and you've got to. I once heard, and I think it was Amanda Gore who said, "You're only as good as your last presentation." You cannot trade on, oh, this is something I did 50 years ago, because no one cares anymore. It's that whole, what have you done for me lately kind of thing. So it can be nice as a single line entry or something, if it is something amazing and outstanding. You know, if you've shared the stage with Barack Obama, you better believe it's going to be in there. But I wouldn't get into too much detail. Academics are the worst. They want every paper that they've contributed to listed, because they feel that's going to give them some amazing depth of knowledge that everyone will go, ooh, look at you. And it's like, if you've got a PhD, you might have the line entry, done their PhD in this field or something like that. But that's as far as it goes. It's always what's recent. What have you done lately? What have you done lately? And trying to get that credibility of most recently. So it's one of those yes and situations. Like, yes, it does give a bit, but what you've done lately is more important.
Excellent. Thank you.
Joe's made a great comment. She said that the bio gets the people in the room, but the intro gets the audience buy-in right now. So that's a great distinction, Joe. I'd agree with that. That's good. Is there any other questions? And if no one has any other questions, I'm happy to give any feedback on anyone's. But again, it's just my opinion. If you want it, I'm happy to share your bio with us, and we'll have a bit of a deconstruction if you're brave. I'm happy if you've got something that you want to go, how do I phrase this? What's a good way to put a great spin on it? I'm happy to. There's enough fabulous marketing people on the line to give us some feedback. Okay, that's so you really got a lot out of that. That's fantastic. No, I'm pleased you're part of it. It's great, good. And this is with getting to members. I keep them short and sweet because I want to give you great value, and really the work is up to you. Yeah, Russell.
Quotes. Would you look to use a quote from somebody in your bio?
In what way? Give us a.
Let's say that you're setting credibility again. So using somebody that the audience may know as a quote about you, right. Given that social proof.
So it's that whole, Barack Obama says Russell Pearson's a marketing legend and helped me win the election kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I guess the point would be like how customizable should you get? Because different presentation, you're doing it for the Retailers Association, you're doing it for a small business group, you're doing it for the Association of Public Speakers, Professional, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's right. How much customization would you do or recommend?
That's a really, really good point. Look, it depends on the relationship you have with the PCO and depending on what you offer. I know what I've done is I've said, hey, here's my bio. If you want me to, I'm happy to tweak it and make it. But for me as a host, they go like, no, this is great. It's fine. For someone, I do a speaking gig, I will do a different bio, which is all about the topic. As Ian said, he has 3 topics. So the bios are specific to the topic. And again, it's, as Joe said, it gets people in the room. So you want your bio to, or there's part of it's the bio, and then part of it's the session description that's going to get people in the room. And so the session description I'd customize, but the bio may be more general. So I'd probably do a little bit of customization, and in all honesty, not a great deal. In terms of quotes from other people, they can be good but short and sweet. It's because for every person who goes, I think that person's a legend, that means something. If you've got someone else going, that person's a knob, why would I listen to them? So, it's a real balance. I mean, it's a technical term, that knob. Ian.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add a comment there. I noticed my conversion ratio jumped about 20% when I took the time to customize my bio. So I've had an inbound inquiry from the web, or I've had an inbound inquiry from a speakers bureau, or a referral from another client, or however it's come to me. And you've got some information, looking for a speaker on such, or they've told you on the phone what they're looking for. I will then take 5 or 10 minutes to tailor up the bio and weave some of the language I've heard from that client or that PCO or that consultant at the Speakers Bureau, whoever I've been talking to or getting emails from. I'll weave some of that language subtly into the bio and then send that off, knowing that it's going to be passed around to other people or a selection-making committee. And without doing anything different, I find that goes gangbusters for you. So, the generic bio is something that I believe should only exist at your broader website, and then do work on tailoring bios. It'll work dollars straight to your bottom line.
There you go. Thanks, Ian. That's awesome. Great point from Joe. If you're quoting a person, some other people might not have heard of it. For example, she says Vivica von Rosen says that Joe's fabulous.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. It froze up.
That's right. We got all your goodness, mate, and we think you're awesome, and everyone said how much they loved you. He was supposed to laugh. Oh, well. There you go. He laughed. Yes.
It froze. Sorry, everyone. I lost you for a second.
Get a new laptop. Joe, as Joe says, there's certain people that they may not know who it is. So, cool. Any other questions from anyone?
Vivica is great.
No. All right, cool. I'm going to call it there. Thanks, everyone, for being along. I hope this has been of value to you. And if you want to put your bio together and you want me to cast an eye over it, I'm more than happy for you to shoot it to me and I'll have a quick look and get back to you. Don't expect me to do a massive amount of work on it, but I'd happily run an eye over and give you a bit of feedback. I did that with some people's one-pages and they appreciated it, which is good. So, excellent. All right. Without further ado, thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have fun, and I'll see you on stage somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah.